welcome you all to iProledge. Hope you all are doing well. My name is Theja. So in this video, we will be covering entire chapter 14, Negotiable Instrument Act. Okay, so we will revise this entire chapter and finish this chapter. Let's start. Alright, so first you need to understand what is negotiable instrument. Very important definition. Let us read it. A negotiable instrument is a document which can be freely transferred from one person to another, and the person who receives it in good faith and for value gets good title even if there was defect in previous holder's title. What are they telling here? We will understand with the help of example. Now there is a check. A issues the check in favor of Mr. B. Okay. Now what does this Mr. B do? Mr. B transfers the check, that is endorses the check to Mr. C. Okay. Somebody steals that check from Mr. C. This check is stolen here. And this check is then transferred to Mr. D. This Mr. D acts in good faith. That means Mr. D does not know that this check is stolen. Nothing. Mr. D has acted in good faith with good intention. And Mr. D pays consideration. Mr. D pays consideration. And Mr. D has not acted negligently. That is, okay, now somewhere it was evident that there was some defect in the check. But Mr. D ignores that defect negligently. No, Mr. D doesn't do that. So Mr. D does not act negligently. When these three things are there, at that time you call Mr. D as holder in due course. Who is Mr. D now? Holder in due course. When do you say a person is holder in due course? When that person has acted in good faith, plus that person has paid valid consideration, and that person has not acted negligently. When these three things are there, you say that particular person is called as holder in due course. Now read this. Negotiable instrument is a document. It has to be a written document only, mandatory written document. It can be freely transferred. When I say freely transferred, what is the meaning of that? Either by delivery, it is transferred, or it can be transferred by endorsing plus delivery. On back of the check, I sign and I write to whom it should be transferred. This is also a valid transfer. So there has to be a valid transfer. At that time you say there is valid negotiation. Okay. From one person to another, and the person who receives it. Who has received this? First, who received this? Mr. B. Then who has received this? Mr. C. Then who has received this? Mr. D. Ultimately, the person who is entitled to receive the money using this instrument, that person is called as holder. Who is a holder? Holder is a person who is entitled to receive money. Okay. Now, when will this person, now let's say another example. I have given you a check, but without any consideration, I have gifted you this. I can do, right? Isn't this negotiable instrument? Yes, it is. But you have not paid any consideration. That means your title, you are only a holder. You will not become holder in due course. For you to become holder in due course, you must have acted in good faith, plus you must have paid some valid consideration, plus you should not have acted negligently. At that time, you become holder in due course. So who gets the protection here? A person who has acted in good faith, plus for a value, that is for consideration, gets a good title even if there was a defect in the previous title. Now here there was a defect in the previous title. Even if there was a defect, as you are holder in due course, you will get protection and you are entitled to receive money. All of you understood? But let's say here D knew that there was some defect. D did not act in good faith that time, or D has not paid consideration, or D has acted negligently. At that time, will D get protection? Will D be entitled to receive money? No. So who is entitled to receive money? Holder in due course. Holder is entitled to receive money, but who will get the protection even if there was a defect in the previous title? Only holder in due course. All of you understood this? If you understand this, negotiable instrument is easy. Got it? Instrument has gone from one person to another person. Now this person endorses this instrument to another person. Now if there was any defect in the title, but the final person who has received this instrument has acted in good faith, has paid valid consideration, plus did not act negligently, he becomes holder in due course and he gets full protection even if there was a defect in the previous title. All of you clear? There is a maxim which is there. No one can transfer a better title than he himself has. Nemo dat quod habet. If I am not the owner, can I transfer this to someone else? No, that other person will not get the ownership. Only if I am the owner. Now I have this water bottle. Only if I am the owner of this water bottle, I can transfer this to someone. If I am only not the owner, can I transfer? No. That means what title the transferor has, same title transferee gets. If I am the owner, transferee becomes the owner. If I am not the owner, transferee is not the owner. But an exception to this rule is negotiable instrument. Correct? When will this exception be given? Only when the person takes the instrument in good faith for consideration without any notice of defect. So here the general case, if this was not a negotiable instrument, as this was stolen property, would D get the ownership? No. But because of that exception, D gets valid title. All of you clear? Yes? Understood? Very, 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 very important. Alright? Now, there are certain essentials of negotiable instrument. What are those? First is free transferability. That means what? It must be transferable by delivery if it is a bearer instrument. If it is an order instrument, endorsement and delivery. If I am intending to specifically, I want to make payment to this particular person, then I'll mention to whom it has to go. It is an order instrument. At that time, the transfer can happen by endorsement and delivery. If I am not intending to whom the payment has to go, anyone who is holding this instrument is entitled to receive payment. It becomes a bearer instrument. That gets transferred by mere delivery. Second is acted in good faith plus consideration. For you to get the benefit, for you to get the protection, you should have acted in good faith plus you must have paid valid consideration. Right to sue in his own name and holder's right to transfer. The holder has the right to further transfer it until maturity. Okay. Negotiability continues until maturity. Free from all the defects. A bona fide transferee gets better title than the transferor. When this condition is complied with. Yes? Alright. Now, as per section 13, subsection 1, Negotiable Instrument Act 1881. A negotiable instrument means promissory note, bill of exchange and check. We will see what is this. All of you understood the definition of negotiable instrument. So, let us first see what are the different kinds of negotiable instrument. What is a promissory note? As I earlier mentioned, for it to be a negotiable instrument, it has to be mandatorily a written document. It has to be in writing. So promissory note is an instrument in writing which should not be a currency note. Let us come to that. And then it should contain an unconditional promise. It must be signed by the maker to pay a certain sum of money to a certain person or to his order. It is a written promise to pay money. Example, X makes a promissory note where he is telling that I promise to pay Y rupees 50,000. This is a written document where X is telling I will pay rupees 50,000. I promise to pay rupees 50,000 to Y. Now who is X here? He is the one who is making the promissory note. So he will be called as the maker. Who is X? X is the maker. Who is the person who is entitled to receive money, to whom the money should go? That person is called as the payee. Okay, so payee is who? Y is the payee. And let us continue. On December 31st, 2022, that is the written document now. Y endorses it to Z. Y later transfers this to Z. Now Y becomes the endorser, Z becomes the endorsee. Ultimately in this equation, who is the ultimate person who will receive money? It is Z. That person is called the holder. Whoever is the person who is legal, who has legal entitlement to receive money, that person is the holder. Who is a holder? Very, very important. That person should have legal entitlement to receive money. If it is a stolen property, will that particular person who has stolen that instrument is called a holder? No. Why? Because he does not have legal entitlement to receive money. It is a stolen property. Got it? So this is a very important thing what you have to remember. Holder, when do you say that person is a holder? That person should have legal entitlement to receive money. When do you say that person is holder in due course? When he has legal entitlement to receive money. Write down the equation for holder in due course. Who is a holder? Who has legal entitlement to receive money. Now who is holder in due course? In simple, that person is called as HDC. Holder in due course. He should have legal entitlement to receive money. Plus must have acted in good faith, plus paid consideration, plus no negligence. Okay, that time you say this person is holder in due course. Now if I have gifted a check, you become a holder. Okay, you don't become holder in due course. If you have paid valid consideration, acted in good faith, not acted negligently, at that time you become holder in due course. All of you understood the difference? Yes? Okay. So next is promissory note we have seen. Now, in promissory note, what are the things that you need to remember? It has to be in writing only. Parties must be certain. Who is the person making the promise, to whom it is being made? It has to be certain. Okay. So maker must be certain, payee must be certain, must be signed by the maker, must be payable in money only, not in exchange of goods. Negotiable instrument is about money. It must be properly stamped and properly dated, and place has to be mentioned. Oh, this is a very important point. A promissory note cannot be made payable to bearer, even if payable on demand or after time. That means what? When I say promissory note not payable to bearer means what? I say I pay 10,000 to Mr. A. This is an order instrument where I am specifically mentioning to whom I will make the payment. But if I say I promise to pay rupees 10,000 to bearer, that means what? Whoever is holding this instrument, whoever has possession of this instrument, I am entitled to pay 10,000 to that person. Now this is acting like a currency note. It is like a private currency note which RBI does not want it to happen. That is why promissory note cannot be made payable to bearer, whether it is payable on demand or after time. When I say I promise to pay 10,000 to bearer on demand, that means whoever is having this promissory note, whenever you demand, I have to pay rupees 10,000. This is not valid. Or if at all it is written, I promise to pay 10,000 to bearer after time, that is after 3 months, after 1 month, even this is not allowed. In case of promissory note, it has to be only order instrument, not bearer. Very, very important point. Got it? Else it becomes like private currency note which keeps circulating. Government does not want that to happen. RBI does not want that to happen. That is why promissory note cannot be made payable to bearer, whether it is on demand or after time. Got it? So this is about promissory note. All of you clear? Yes. Next, what is this bill of exchange? Let us understand with the help of example. Okay. Now, there is A who is a seller. He sells goods to B who is the buyer. Now, A draws a bill on B for rupees 10,000 payable to C. That means A is drawing the bill, A is ordering. In promissory note, what it was? One person is making a promise to pay. But here in bill of exchange, one party is ordering the other party. You have to make the payment to other person. There is an order that is happening here. Okay. So drawer. Now A draws a bill on B for 10,000 payable to C. That means what is the meaning of this? A is ordering B. You have to pay 10,000 to C. Now who are the parties here? A, there it was maker who is making the promissory note. That person becomes the maker. The person who is drawing the bill is called as a drawer. A is the drawer. B, on whom it is being drawn, it is the drawee. That is the person who has to make the payment is drawee. And after when A is ordering that you have to make the payment, that party has to accept, right? How will he accept? By signing that bill of exchange. If he has not accepted only, then no legal obligation. He is not entitled to make the payment. Only after he signs, he is entitled to make the payment. So B signs. After he signs, he becomes an acceptor. Who is B? He is a drawee. Until he signs, he will be called as a drawee. Once he signs, he will be called as an acceptor. So C is payee, who is entitled to receive money, and ultimately who has legal entitlement to receive money is called as the holder, who is the C. Understood the parties here? So C signs and gives it to D. Okay. C is the endorser here and D is the endorsee. If further it gets transferred, then endorser and endorsee. Now who is the holder here? As per the final equation, D is the holder. Ultimately, D is the person who is entitled to receive payment, right? So D becomes the holder. Got it? There are another two more parties in promissory, in bill of exchange, very important. First is drawee in case of need. What do you mean by that? Now in the same bill, A writes in the bill, in case of need, contact E. Let's say B, in case if B does not make the payment, please go contact E. E will make the payment to you. That person is called drawee in case of need. Now if B refuses to make the payment, at that time holder can go to E. If B refuses to pay, holder can go to E. That person is called as drawee in case of need. Got it? Next, there is another party, acceptor for honor. That means if at all B refuses to accept, here B has to accept, right? Only after B accepts, his legal obligation starts. Until he accepts, he is not entitled to make the payment. But once he accepts, he has legal entitlement to make the, he has legal obligation to make the payment. So G, some third party, says that I will accept to protect A's honor. In order to protect drawer's honor, I accept and I will make the payment. This person is called as acceptor for honor. Understood who all are the parties of bill of exchange? There is a drawer, there is a drawee, there is a acceptor. Who is an acceptor? Drawee becomes an acceptor after drawee signs the bill of exchange, and the payee, the person to whom the payment has to go. Holder, who has the ultimate legal entitlement to receive the money. Now another two more important parties. If at all drawee refuses to pay, another party can make the payment. That will be written in the bill of exchange. Okay. Next is, if at all drawee refuses to accept, some third person will come and say that I want to honor drawer's reputation, I want to protect drawer's honor, so I will make the payment in order to protect the reputation of drawer. Okay, got it? This is bill of exchange. Again, this has to be a written instrument because all negotiable instrument has to be in writing. So it is a written instrument containing an unconditional order. There it was an unconditional promise. So it is signed by the drawer directing to a certain person to pay certain sum of money to a certain person or to his order or to bearer. Now promissory note, what did we see? It can never be bearer, but bill of exchange can be bearer. Okay? Yes. Now here there is another thing, I'll just cover it off. Yes. So as per section 31 of RBI Act, it says no bill of exchange can be payable to bearer on demand. Now what are they telling here? In promissory note, no promissory note can never be made payable to bearer on demand or after sight. Both are not allowed. Okay, but here they are only mentioning on demand. If a bill of exchange says that pay 10,000 to C, pay 10,000 to bearer after 3 months, this is valid. But if it says pay 10,000 to C on demand, that is not valid. Understanding the difference? So in promissory note, it can never be made payable to bearer, but in bill of exchange, it can be payable to bearer on demand. It cannot be made payable to bearer on demand, but it can be made payable after sight. That is allowed. Okay? Alright. So here, you need to understand two more concepts. That is, what is a trade bill? What is an accommodation bill? What is a trade bill? Trade bill is simple, a bill drawn and accepted for a genuine trade transaction. There must be an actual sale of goods and service. In exchange of that, bill is drawn. This is simple. How in trade it happens, it is a trade bill. There is something called as accommodation bill. Hear me out carefully. Now, there is a person, that person is in need of money. So his friend says that I will give you money, but how? You draw a bill telling that I have to make payment to you. Okay, so that later you can give this bill in the bank and collect money immediately. I will explain with the help of example. Mr. A needs money. So his friend Mr. B, what he does? Mr. B, who should actually, who told that I will help Mr. A. Mr. B has told I will draw a bill telling that you draw a bill telling that I have to pay you 10,000. And you go to bank and show this telling that after 3 months I will receive 10,000 from this person. So that bank will give you money. Will bank give you entire 10,000? No. Some benefit bank should have. No. Bank will deduct some amount and give you. Bank will, let's say, give you 9,500. That 500 rupees what bank has kept, that is the profit which bank will earn. From whom bank will recover that 500? From Mr. A. I will explain. Mr. A needs money. Now Mr. B helps A. How will he help? B says A draws a bill on B saying pay 10,000 pay 10,000 to A after 3 months. Now, who should make the payment here as per this equation? Who should make the payment? B has to make the payment. A 10,000 after 3 months. Correct? Understood here, accommodation bill, there is no real transaction that is happening between A and B. There is no trade, no consideration, nothing. B wants to help A. That is why they are creating this fake bill. On face of it, it is a fake bill because there is no real transaction that is happening. But it is a valid negotiable instrument. Understood? Now what will A do? A goes to bank and shows that B will pay. I have a bill. Because of through this bill, I will get the payment after 3 months, rupees 10,000. Okay. Shows the bank. A goes to bank and shows bill. What does that bill say? That I am entitled to receive money through this bill. Rupees 10,000 I will receive after 3 months. So you keep this bill and you give me money right now is what A says. Understood? So what bank does now? Bank will not give entire 10,000. What benefit bank will get? Bank will deduct some amount and give to A. Bank, let's say bank pays 9,500 to A. Now A wanted money. A received money. But did A receive complete 10,000? A has received only 9,500. Now that remaining 500, how will bank recover? After 3 months, bank will recover from the person who has to make the payment, and bank will recover entire 10,000. Understood? So this is how accommodation bill works. All of you clear? Understood how accommodation bill works? Read this example now. A needs money. B and C agree to help. They draw a bill 3 months after date, pay A rupees 1,000. A gets it discounted from bank and receives money. Now after 3 months, bank will get entire 10,000 from the party. So in reality, what is happening? A must repay B and C before maturity. It is A's duty to repay B and C. Correct? No, the person who was in need of money, the person who has received the money from bank before maturity should pay it back to B and C. So A is the real debtor. B and C are just acting like sureties. This is called as inversion of liability. What is inversion of liability? On face of it, if you see, it shows that B and C are the debtor. But actually in reality, A is the debtor. Understood all of you? What is accommodation bill? Is everyone clear? Okay. So if between original parties, the parties who appears principal is actually surety, it is an accommodation bill. So let us once read. Accommodation bill, who are the parties here? It is drawn without consideration, only to help someone financially. There is no consideration, no trade, just to help someone. You are letting that other person draw a bill telling that you have to make the payment after so and so months. Understood? Okay. So this is a very important concept. What is a trade bill? What is an accommodation bill? Okay. Now, what is bank draft? A bill of exchange drawn by one bank on another bank or one branch of the bank on another branch. You must have gotten this DD, demand draft. Okay. So what happens here? You make the payment to the bank. Bank draws a bill on another bank and they will make the payment. Correct? So this is called as demand draft. How is this different from check? Now you go deposit a check and you get money. Correct? So now in your colleges or schools you must have gone through this. They used to ask for DD, demand draft. They never ask for check. Why? Because in check there are chances that there would be insufficient funds in the check, insufficient funds in the account. So that problem was there. And demand draft, bank draft is the safest option because you have given the money to the bank. Now it is bank's responsibility to make the payment, not your responsibility. When you have given the money to bank, it is bank's responsibility. That is why bank draft is much more safer than check. So what is it? What is the difference? Bank draft cannot be easily countermanded. So basically check, it can be countermanded. You can ask the bank to stop the process. But bank draft is not like that. You have already made the payment. The process has started. So bank draft cannot be made payable to bearer. You have to mention to whom the payment has to go. In bank draft is very secure. Why? Because of this reason where you are making the payment to bank and it is bank's duty to make the payment. Understood? What is bank draft? Okay. So this is your promissory note and bill of exchange. Now we have read this concept. Alright. So next is check. The third type of negotiable instrument is check. What is a check? Simple. A has an account in SBI. A writes a check, pay 10,000 to B. Who are the parties here? A is the drawer who is writing this check. SBI is the drawee who will make the payment. Always remember, check is also a type of bill of exchange. What is the difference? Check has to be made to a specific banker only. It has to be drawn on a specific banker only. This is a bill of exchange which has to be drawn on specific banker. In other bill of exchange, it can be drawn on an individual, but here it can be drawn on, it has to be drawn on specific banker. So who is the drawee here? SBI. And who has to receive the payment is the payee, 10,000. That person is Mr. B. Understood? Who are the parties? Drawer, drawee and payee. Yes. So always remember, check is a bill of exchange drawn on specified banker, always payable on demand. Okay, now I think this is clear. What does section 31 of RBI Act say? No bill of exchange can be payable to bearer on demand, but bill of exchange can be payable to bearer after date. That is valid. No promissory note can be payable to bearer. No bank draft can be payable to bearer. Only check can be payable to bearer on demand. Understood? Yes? Okay. Now, earlier it was only physical check, but now we have electronic check also, that is called as truncated check. What do you mean by that? Now, check includes electronic image of truncated check in electronic form, but the basic nature of the check remains the same. It is same as physical check, the nature, but it is in electronic form now. What is check in electronic form? It means the check is created electronically using computer system. It is signed using digital signature. It uses secure system and encryption, so it is not paper based. Now truncated, why it is called as truncated check? The word truncated means stopped midway. In normal system, how it used to function, physical check moves from one bank to another bank. But in truncated system, physical check stops at the first bank and further only electronic checks are circulated. Only that is further transferred. Okay. So the physical check stops at the first bank. Only electronic image is sent to the clearing house. Clearing house is the place where check settlement happens. So the original check does not physically travel further. It is only the electronic check that circulates. Okay? Yes. So this is very important. What is the basic nature of check? It is a bill of exchange, but with two extra conditions. It must be drawn on a bank. It must be payable on demand. Yes? So who are the parties? Drawer, drawee and payee. So check is always drawn on banker, must be always payable on demand. This all we have seen in the class. Everything is covered detail in the class. Alright, this is very important. Point 6. What it says? Banker is liable, that is drawee. Who is the banker? Drawee in case of check. Banker is liable only to drawer. If check is dishonored, holder cannot sue the bank. Who is the holder? Holder is the person who is entitled to receive money, is the holder. Now holder cannot sue the bank. Only drawer can sue the bank. Can you guess why? Can you guess why? Why can't holder sue the bank? That is because there is a contract between whom and whom? Drawer and the banker, right? I have an account in my bank. That means I have some contract between me and my bank. How will that holder have any relation with the bank? So no third party can sue. There is the concept of privity of contract in Contract Act we have seen. So that is why holder cannot sue the bank, only drawer can sue the bank. Alright? Yes. So because contract exists between bank and the drawer, not the holder and bank. So here there is no stamp duty required. No stamp, nothing is required. And then, so validity. As of now, the current scenario, the validity of the check is 3 months. Within 3 months, you have to present it. Okay. So, post-dated check valid on the date written. Antedated check valid if within validity period. That means what? Now, let's say there is a check. Today is 3rd March, correct? Today's date is 23rd March. So the date on the check is 25th March. Now can I go and claim money? No, I have to wait till this date, and then from that date I have 3 months time. If it is antedated check means today is, let's say, 23rd March and the date on the check is 2nd Feb. Can I go and claim money? Yes, I can, because it is within 3 months. If at all the date was 23rd November on the check, can I go today? No, 3 months is already lapsed. Understood? This is post-dated check and antedated check. This is very simple. We have covered. Who is a banker? Banker is a person or a company that does banking business. Banking means accepting deposits of money from public for the purpose of lending or investing. The money must be repayable on demand or otherwise, and withdrawable by check, draft or other means. Simple. Who is a customer? Customer is a person who has an account with the bank or the person who uses banking services. How is the relationship between banker and customer? The relationship is mainly debtor and creditor. When customer deposits money, bank becomes debtor, customer becomes creditor. Yes. Now this is something we have covered in detail in class. What are the obligations? What are the duties of banker? What are the rights of banker? What are the liabilities of banker? What are the rights of banker? Right of lien. Now bank, can it retain the goods? Can it retain the securities given by customer? Yes. When? Until the dues are cleared. After the dues are cleared, bank has to give it back. Right of set off. Bank can adjust money from one account to clear the dues in another account of the same customer. Right to charge interest and incidental charges as per the rules. Liability of banker. When a customer opens a current account, bank becomes debtor for the amount deposited. Bank promises to honor the check if sufficient funds are there. When sufficient funds are there, it is duty of the bank to honor the check. If bank wrongfully dishonors the check, if customer has sufficient funds and still bank refuses to make the payment without any reason, the bank must compensate the customer for loss or damage. Got it? Now this is a very, very important point. Payee or holder cannot sue the bank. Again, why? Because only drawer, that is the customer of the bank, can sue the bank, because contract exists only between the bank and the drawer. Got it? Yes. Now this is a very important question. When banker must refuse the payment, when banker may refuse the payment. Must is mandatorily, it has the right to refuse the payment. May is, it is its discretion whether to refuse or not. So go through the cases when it must refuse to make the payment. It must not pay the money. Stop payment instruction is received from the customer. Customer has given clear instructions, don't make the payment. Next, notice of death of the customer. Insolvency. Notice of insanity. When there is a garnishee order. Garnishee order is court order. And then assignment of account payee. Defective title holder. If bank knows check holder obtained check illegally. If the customer legally assigns his account balance to someone else, payment has to go to the new customer, not the old one. Notice of closing account. If customer informs the bank to close the account, bank must not honor further checks. Got it? These are the cases where bank mandatorily should not make the payment. Cases where bank may refuse. It is bank's discretion. Bank can decide. It can refuse if it is a post-dated check. If there is insufficient funds, if there is doubtful legality, that means if check appears illegal, bank may refuse. Improper presentations. So if check is presented after banking hours, you have to present the check within banking hours and hours only. If you present after banking hours and you show sufficient cause, banker may agree. Irregular or altered check, there is overwriting on that. Presented at wrong branch. Joint account not properly signed. If it is a stale check is old check. It has to be presented within 3 months, right? After 3 months, it becomes a stale check, old check. So this is what is the, when should it must, when mandatorily it has to refuse the payment, or the second case is it is banker's discretion. Please go through all the points thoroughly, important. All right. Yes. Now current validity, as I earlier mentioned, it is 3 months. Okay. So example, check dated 30th November, presented on 20th November. This is a post dated check. Correct. So you have to wait till 30th November to present it. Next, protection of paying banker. The law protects a banker if the banker makes the payment properly. The protection is given only when payment is made in due course. Very, very important concept. What are they telling here? When will bank get the protection is the question. So you know now who is holder in due course. Same way. Who is holder in due course? Who has acted in good faith, who has paid valid consideration, and who has not acted negligently. And the first rule is who has legal entitlement to receive the money. This person is called as holder in due course. Now what do you mean by payment in due course? When do you say bank has made payment in due course? First, bank must have acted in good faith. Next, bank must not have acted negligently. And then bank payment must be made only in money. Okay. And then according to what appears on face of the check. That means what? Now I have received a check. I am the banker. I have received the check. On face of it, everything seems genuine. Everything seems very clear and genuine. So I make the payment. I get the protection. Now I am not a police officer who keeps investigating whether this is correct. The in-depth investigation I will not do. On face of it, it looks genuine. Then I will make the payment. Okay. Next, and I have made the payment to the person in possession who is entitled to receive money. Who has to receive money, I have made payment to that person only. If all of these conditions are there, at that time banker gets protection because banker has made payment in due course. Understood all of you? Okay. Now we will see in which cases bank will get protection, in which cases bank will not get protection. Very, very important concept. Okay. Okay. First we saw for a banker to get the protection, there has to be 5 conditions that they have to satisfy. First, when do you say banker has made payment in due course? I'll repeat again, very important. First, when the bank has acted in good faith without negligently. And banker has made payment according to what appears on face of the check. On face of the check it looks genuine. Banker has made the payment. To whom the banker has made the payment? To the person who is legally entitled to receive the money. To that person only banker has made the payment. And payment is made in money. If all the cases are satisfied, all of the conditions, okay? If all of the conditions are satisfied, at that time you say banker has made payment in due course. That is why banker gets protection. Got it? Now, in which all cases bank gets protection? First case, it is an order check, that is to whom the money has to go. That person is clearly specified. At that time you say it is an order check. Plus proper looking endorsement has happened. That is the transfer. Proper valid endorsement has happened. We will see what it is. A issues a check, pay B or order. This is an order check where A is clearly mentioning money has to go to B. Now B endorses this to C, a valid endorsement. B endorses this to whom? To C. Signature looks very genuine. So bank pays the money to C. Now C goes and presents this check. On face of it, it looks genuine. Everything is proper. Bank has acted in good faith. So bank makes the payment to C. Later, it is found signature turns out to be forged. Now, what do you think? Banker will get protection or not? Banker will get protection because first thing is banker has made payment in due course. And most importantly, banker should know the signature of drawer. My customer signature I will know. How will I know endorsement signature, all of that? Further endorser signature I will not know. So banker's liability is to make sure that drawer signature is correct. That should not be forged. If drawer signature is forged, bank will not get the protection. Drawer signature is correct, but endorser signature is forged. Banker, if it has acted in good faith, if all of those 5 conditions are satisfied, banker will get the protection. Clear, all of you? Understood? So bank is protected. Why? Because bank only checks drawer signature, not all endorsement. Very, very important. Understood? Second situation, when banker will get the protection. Originally it was a bearer check. It was not an order check, bearer check. Whoever possesses this check, I get the valid money. I am entitled to receive money. So if it is a bearer check, how does transfer happen? Is it by endorsement and delivery? No, it is merely by delivery. If it is an order instrument, transfer should happen by endorsement and delivery, not by mere delivery. But if it is a bearer instrument, transfer happens only by delivery. So A issues a check, pay bearer. B is the B holder who presents the check, bank pays to B. Even if check was stolen, bank is protected. Why? Because once a bearer check is always a bearer check. In bearer, there is no need of endorsement. By mere delivery, you can transfer that instrument. When by mere delivery, you can transfer the instrument, why banker will check the endorsements? Understood? Got it, all of you? Yes. Next is cross check. If it is a cross check, what do you mean by cross check? This is a check and 2 lines is drawn. What do you mean by that? When it is a cross check, I cannot present in the counter and get money. It has to go through bank account only. Understood? There is open check, there is cross check. What is open check? I can present that check on the counter and collect cash. If it is a cross check, there is no cash collection. It has to go through bank account only. So as it is a cross check, which is already more safer than open check, of course, no? When I present open check, bank will give me cash. Now later, how will bank trace to whom the cash is given? Bank cannot trace. But if it is a cross check, bank can trace to which account money has gone. So as it is a cross check, bank gets protection. And if it has acted, all of those 5 conditions, that is the ultimate thing. Those 5 conditions banker has to comply. So A issues cross check to B, bank credits the amount to B's account properly. At that time, bank gets the protection. So 3 cases where bank gets protection. Now, cases where bank will not get protection. Drawer signature is forged. It is banker's customer. You need to know your customer signature, and that is only forged. Why will I give you protection is what law says. So banker will not get the protection. Second, payment not in due course. Of course, if those 5 conditions you comply, only then you will get protection. You have acted negligently. You clearly on the check, it is written something is overlapped. And you have ignored that and made the payment. You have acted negligently. We will not give you protection. Third, very important. Order check becomes bearer later. There is an order check. Let us read the example. A issues pay B or order. A is telling money has to go to B. Now, B signs a blank endorsement. What is blank endorsement? You sign on back of the check, but you don't mention to whom this has to go. You don't mention to whom the money has to go. You only sign on the back. So now this check has become from order instrument to bearer instrument. That is, anyone who holds this check is entitled to receive money. B signs a blank endorsement and this check has now become a bearer check. C presents the check. Bank pays to C. Originally it was order. Now it has become bearer. Will bank get protection? No. Why will bank not get protection? Because A is ordering whom? Bank only, no. Check is a bill of exchange drawn on banker. Drawer is ordering the bank to make the payment to B. Now later, when it is clearly written that drawer is ordering the bank to make the payment to B, somebody comes and says that this is a blank endorsement. Now I am entitled to receive money. Bank should properly check that. What if B did not intend to transfer only? That is why bank will not get the protection. Understood why bank will not get the protection? I'll repeat again. A has clearly ordered the bank. Money has to go only to B. That is only order instrument, right? Now when drawer has ordered this to drawee, and because of blank endorsement, without proper verification, bank has given that money to the person who has come with blank endorsement. Is that valid? No, bank has to verify with B. Did you transfer it? Because A had clearly mentioned money should go to you. Now someone else is coming and telling that I should receive money. Bank has to do that verification. If you don't do the verification, then you will not get the protection. Understood? When bank will get the protection and when bank will not get the protection. Clear? All of you clear? Very, very important. Okay? So bank has to act in good faith plus no negligence. Okay? So if it is a cross check, pay 5,000 to A, it is crossed. Bank credits to account. Even if there is some problem later, bank is protected because bank can trace which account it has gone. If it is an open check, pay 5,000 to A, no crossed, and bank pays cash as it is an open check. Later fraud is found. How will you trace to whom that cash has gone? Bank will not be protected. Okay? Simple. Very important. Next, customer means a person who has an account with the bank. If banker collects for strangers, then no protection is given. Okay? So banker must act only as an agent. He must only collect for customer. If banker becomes holder for value, then protection is lost. Bank should act only as a middleman and collect money for the customer. If at all bank waits for clearing and then gives money, it is safe and gets protection. So when the money is deposited, bank has to wait until the clearing happens. Only after that money has to be transferred. But before clearance, bank transfers that money. That means bank is actually giving its money. So bank will not get any protection. At that time you say bank is acting as holder for value. Understood? Only after clearing. Nowadays, immediately when money is deposited, you receive the money. It was not the case earlier. Now why bank are doing that? To maintain good relation with the customers. But that is a risk which bank is taking. Before clearing only, bank is giving its money to you. So at that time no protection is given. So when bank becomes holder for value, it loses its protection. Next, what is a overdue check? A check becomes legally time barred after 3 years from its date. Limitation Act. After that, you cannot file a suit. What is a stale check? Stale check is today there is a check is dated a particular date. You have 3 months time to present in the bank and receive money. After 3 months, it becomes a stale check. This is a stale check. But you have 3 years time to go to court and legally recover money from them. Okay? But that time is how much? 3 years. That is the limitation period. Don't get confused. This is you have 3 months time to present the check and receive money from bank. But you have 3 years time to go to court and have the recovery. Through court recovery, you have 3 years time. Understood? Yes. Okay. Next is Okay. Now what is crossing of check? We have two forms of check, open check and cross check. What is open check? Over the counter, bank can give me cash. Today I present the check. Over the counter, bank will give me cash. This is open check. Cross check is no cash. It has to go through bank account only. Okay. So open check can be paid in cash over the counter. Cross check cannot be paid in cash, must be collected through bank. Purpose of crossing is what? Safety, transferability, traceability and to prevent fraud. Now there are three modes: general crossing, special crossing, restrictive crossing. General crossing, there is a check, you draw two line, it is general crossing. That means no cash settlement, it has to go through bank account only. What is special crossing? You specifically write, let's say SBI. That means paying bank will pay only to that specific bank. This is special crossing. What is account pay crossing? Specifically it has to go to that account only. So must be credited only to the account of the payee, restricts negotiability in practice. If collecting banker credits to wrong account, he is negligent and loses the protection. It has to go to that account only. Got it? Now there is a very important concept. What do you mean by not negotiable crossing? See, a check is crossed and it is written not negotiable. What is the meaning of that? The words not negotiable are written along with general crossing or special crossing. It can be between the parallel lines or along with the name of the bank. Now, not negotiable does not mean the check cannot be further transferred. It means the transferee does not get the better title than the transferor. This removes the special benefit of negotiability, the maxim nemo det quod non habet, which says that even if the transferor's title was defective, transferee gets the better title. This is an exception to negotiable instrument. But if on the check it is clearly mentioned not negotiable, transferee will not get the better title. The same title what transferor has, the same title transferee also gets. Understood? That special protection of negotiable instrument is removed if at all not negotiable is written. Example, a holder in due course gets good title. This is what we have seen till now. Even if previous holder had defective title, if you are a holder in due course, you will get proper title. But in not negotiable check, transferee cannot get better title. Even transferor's title, if transferor's title is defective, then transferee's title is also defective. Example, A issues a check to B. The check is crossed and marked not negotiable. Now suppose B steals the check from real owner C. B transfers it to D. D takes it honestly and also pays consideration. Will D be protected here? Will D be entitled to receive money? If not negotiable was not written, at that time D was protected. As it is written not negotiable and as it is a stolen instrument, you will not get better title. You are not entitled to receive money here. Understood? You cannot recover from D. So the true owner C can recover the money from D here. Understood? So because it is marked not negotiable, C cannot get the better title than B. Since B had no title, that as it was a stolen check, D also gets no title. Understood? Now as C has made payment to, D has made payment to C, C can recover that money. But D is not entitled to get money through that instrument. Understood? Very powerful, not negotiable. It makes the check very strong. Alright? Yes. What do you mean by maturity? The date on which the payment of the instrument becomes due. Now for checks are always payable on demand. No maturity concept, no days of grace, nothing. But in promissory note, bill of exchange, we have grace period. We will see what it is. Just go through this. Very simple. We have covered this. Days of grace means what? For bill of exchange, for promissory note, payable after date or sight. After date is after some time. After sight is after it is seen. Okay, after it is seen. So 3 days of grace are added. So for promissory note and bill of exchange, how many days? 3 days. Example, bill payable 30 days after date. That means add 3 days, payment is due on 33rd date. Okay. Now no days of grace, nothing in case of check. If due date falls on a public holiday, very important, remember, if becomes payable on a, so if it is a public holiday, if the maturity falls on a public holiday, it becomes payable on preceding business day, not on the next day. It becomes payable on the previous day. Very, very important. Remember this. Okay, not on the next day but on the previous day. Now when the period ends, if payable 3 months after date, it becomes due on the corresponding date of the month. If no corresponding date exists, then last date of that month. Let's say it was actually due from today, dated on 31st January, 28th February, let's say it was on 31st March, April, May, June. So it becomes 30th June. There is no 31st. So you have to do it on 30th June. Understood? Last date of that month. Got it, right? So 31st March, April, May, June. So June, there is no 31st. So last date of that month, 30th June. Got it? Yes. Now this is something we have already covered in detail. Who is a holder? Who is holder in due course? So this is done. Holder and who is holder in due course. Who gets better title? Who gets benefit? Who gets protection? Holder in due course. Next is capacity to incur liability on negotiable instrument is capacity to contract. So minor, lunatic, idiot, drunkard person who is not competent to contract, if they are the party, they are not liable. Only the competent person is liable. Okay. So liability of parties, simple. Liability of drawer. Now drawer's liability is secondary, right? Whose liability is primary? Drawee's liability is primary. If drawee does not make the payment, drawer has to make the payment. Drawer's liability is secondary. Liability of drawee of check. So bank must pay. Who is the drawee? Bank is the drawee. Bank must pay the check if sufficient funds are available, funds are properly applicable, check is presented properly. So drawee has the primary liability here. Liability of the maker and acceptor, they have the primary liability here. If I am promising you to make the payment, I am the maker. My liability is primary. Acceptor is when drawee signs the bill of exchange. Drawee becomes the acceptor. Liability of endorser. Who is endorser? The person who is transferring that instrument. The instrument has, I have issued that instrument to B and B is now passing it on to C. Okay, so B becomes the endorser and C becomes the endorsee. Alright. Now, can B write? I am the drawer. I have given that instrument to B. Now, B is endorsing that instrument to C. Can B write that I will not be liable even if dishonor, even if the check dishonors, even if anything happens, I am not liable, don't come to me. Can B write that? Yes. Endorser can write sans recourse, without recourse. That means if something happens, I am not responsible, you cannot make me liable. Drawer will be liable. Understood? That is what they are telling here. Endorser is liable to all subsequent holders, not the previous person. Endorser is liable to subsequent holders. Instrument is, if at all instrument is endorsed, notice of dishonor is given, liability of the endorser becomes secondary. He can exclude the liability by writing without recourse. At that time, who is liable? Drawer becomes liable or the other endorsers. Okay? Yes. Liability of prior parties. So all prior parties are liable to the holder in due course. Holder in due course is the ultimate person, and all the prior parties, holder in due course, can make them liable. But if at all the endorser has written without recourse, then that person will not be liable. Got it? So whose liability is primary? Maker or acceptor liability is primary. Whose liability is secondary? Drawer or endorser's liability is secondary. Next, a very very important concept of forged endorsement. Let us, okay. So acceptor is not relieved from liability if he knew the endorsement was forged when accepting. If acceptor knows the endorsement is fake, he cannot escape the liability. If it is in the fictitious name, fictitious person is who? Imaginary name. That person doesn't exist only. So if the bill drawn is fictitious, fictitious and accepted, acceptor shall be liable to the holder in due course, because that person does not exist only. You have to make someone liable. Acceptor will be liable if the endorsement appears in same handwriting as drawer. What is negotiation? Transfer of a negotiable instrument in such a way that transferee becomes the holder. It can be transferred in two ways. Negotiation, assignment. We have seen the difference in the class. What are the different types of endorsement? First is blank endorsement or general endorsement. Pay Mohan or order, Mohan signs. It is blank endorsement. And once he signs, it becomes a bearer endorsement. Because bearer instrument. Why? Because he is not mentioning to whom it should go. Bearer means what? I am not mentioning to whom it should go. Okay. Special endorsement or full endorsement. Pay to Sohan or order and signs. Special endorsement. Restrictive endorsement. Pay A only. Okay. This is restrictive endorsement where I am restricting to whom it should go. Partial endorsement. Pay B rupees 500 out of 1000. Okay. So this is transfers only part of the instrument, part of the amount which is not valid. Next, conditional or qualified endorsement. It limits the liability of the endorsers. How? By writing sans recourse. I am limiting my liability by writing sans recourse. If something happens, don't come to me. Endorser excludes the liability. Or I am putting a condition that can happen, not uncertain condition, certain condition. Okay, next, negotiation back. What do you mean by what is negotiation back? Important. Now, when the endorser transfers the instrument and later it becomes its holder again. I have given the instrument to B. I have told that B is entitled to receive money. Now B has transferred that to C. C has transferred that to D. D has further transferred it to me. I have become the ultimate holder again. Okay. So it is called as negotiation back. The law avoids circuity of action. That means what? I'll tell. A makes a bill payable to B. B endorses it to C. C endorses it to D. D endorses it back to B. Now it has come back to B only. Now B again becomes the holder of the bill. This is called negotiation back because instrument has come back to the prior endorser. Now there is an important point. Remember, if instrument comes back to the prior endorser, he cannot sue the intermediate endorser. Intermediate endorsers are not liable to him. Why? To avoid circuity of action. Circuity of action is unwanted multiple legal cases. A is suing B, B is suing D, C is suing E. No, law doesn't want that. That is why if it comes back to you, you cannot sue the other endorsers. But what if you have written without recourse? At that time you can sue the intermediate endorsers. Okay. A makes a bill, clear, right? A has given the bill to B. B has transferred it to C. C has transferred it to D. Again everyone has transferred it to B only. It has come back to B only. It has come back to drawee. Correct? Yes. It has come back to payee. Exception is if the endorser had endorsed sans recourse and later becomes the holder again, he can sue the immediate endorser. So what is the key you have to remember here? These 2 points. If it is a normal endorsement, no right against intermediate endorsers. But if it is sans recourse endorsement, right is revived. Understood? Alright. It has come back to the same holder. It has not come back to drawer, okay? It has come back to the holder. Don't get confused here. Yeah. Okay. This is very important. Negotiation of lost or unlawfully obtained instrument. If the instrument is lost, stolen, obtained by fraud, then the person claiming through such possessor cannot recover unless he is a holder in due course. Simple. Now is a very important part, forged endorsement. Okay, what is the basic rule when forgery happens? Basic rule is that forgery gives no title. Okay, no protection of nemo did quid habet, nothing will be given to you if it is a case of forgery. Example, A issues a check to B, it is an order check. Someone forges B's signature and transfers it to C. Now C presents the check. Will C get title? No, C will not get title here because it is a concept of forgery. If the defect is because of forgery, then you will not get protection. Remember this. Forgery is a special case where if the defect of title is because of forgery, then you will not get protection. Why? Because forged endorsement is nullity. It is not a valid endorsement only. For you to get protection of negotiability, there has to be a valid endorsement that has to happen. Here, where is valid endorsement? B didn't intend to transfer it to C. There is no valid endorsement only here. Somebody has forged the document. Okay? Yes. But there are 2 exceptions. Even for this, there are 2 exceptions. First exception, if it is a bearer instrument. In bearer instrument, what did I say? How will transfer happen? Is it through endorsement? It is by mere delivery. Endorsement is not needed only. So here A issues check, pay bearer. Someone steals it and forges the endorsement to C. C presents the check. C gets valid title here and can recover money. Why? Because bearer instrument, if it is a bearer instrument, it is transferred by delivery only. Endorsement is not at all important here. As it is by mere delivery, forgery not there. Correct? It is because as it is a bearer instrument, it is by mere delivery. There is no concept of endorsement here. Okay. This is the first example, first case where even if the endorsement is forged, the final holder gets the valid protection. Second case is if it is blank endorsement. That means A pays B, which was an order check. B signs the blank endorsement. Now it has become a bearer instrument. As it has become bearer instrument, now further transfer, how it should happen? By mere delivery. Endorsement is not needed. So even in this case, the final holder gets protection. So when will the protection be given in case of forged document? If the transfer, if it is a bearer instrument, or if it was an order instrument and it has become bearer later and further it is forged later, then also protection is given to the ultimate holder if that holder has acted in good faith. Okay? Got it all of you? This is a case of forgery. Very important. Please remember this. They have asked this in the exam also. Understood the concept? Clear? Next, Presentment for acceptance. See, now presentment for acceptance is what? Bill must be payable after, whenever it is there, that bill is payable after sight. When bill expressly requires acceptance, at that time holder has to show that bill to the drawee, right? Only when he shows that bill to drawee, from that time when he accepts it, he is entitled to make the payment within whatever time is mentioned. If not presented only, then drawer and endorser is not liable. Correct? No, there is a bill of exchange. It says that drawer has drawn a bill on the drawee, where drawee has to make the payment to holder. Now holder has to go and say that accept this bill. Once accepted, from then drawee has to make the payment until the set time. If the holder didn't go only to drawee, then can the holder make endorser or drawer liable? No. Drawer told that first you have to go to drawee and ask the drawee to accept the bill. If drawee doesn't accept, then drawer will be liable. But you have not gone to the drawee only. Then how will you make drawer and endorser liable? This is the concept of presentment for acceptance. Now, when is this presentment for acceptance compulsory? When bill specifically says bill payable after sight. That is, after sight is what? After drawee has accepted. After that bill is payable. Until then not. When bill is payable after sight. Okay? Or when bill expressly requires acceptance. Bill has clearly expressly mentioned that it requires acceptance. In these two cases, who has to go? Holder has to go to drawee and ask the drawee to accept. Understood? Okay. So to whom it should be presented? Drawee or his agent, authorized agent. If drawee is dead, then legal representative. If insolvent, then official receiver. If there are several drawees, then all of them. When must it be presented? Before maturity, within reasonable time, on the business date, and during business hours. Got it? Okay. So when presentment for payment is excused. No need to present if drawer or maker prevents the presentation. Drawer himself, maker himself is stopping you from presenting. No one is available at the payment place. Party cannot be found only. Drawer is fictitious. Drawer and drawee are the same person. When bill already dishonored by acceptance. All of this we have covered in detail. Please go through that. Important. Okay. In these cases, presentment is excluded. Next is dishonor for non-acceptance. So when will it be dishonored? First, drawee does not accept the bill within 48 hours. It is treated as dishonored. When bill is presented but not accepted. When drawee is incompetent, if he is a minor or insolvent. When drawee is fictitious. When acceptance is based on some condition. Okay. This is in case of bill of exchange. Now this is in case of bill of exchange, promissory note and check. When payment is refused and not made on due date, at that time you say it is dishonored. Understood? Clear? Next. So we have seen that notice of dishonor has to be given. Else how will the other party know? You have to mention, no? So after dishonor, who has to give notice? Holder needs to give. Who will give? Holder. Holder is the person who is entitled to receive money. He should give the notice. So he must give the notice to drawer and endorser. So they become liable. Must be given within reasonable time. It can be either oral or written. Each party must inform the prior parties. Purpose is to inform the parties and allow them to take action. If drawer does not know only, if endorser does not know only about the notice, how will they take action? Correct? So if no notice, then drawer and endorser are protected. They are discharged from their liabilities. So when is notice not required? When notice is waived, party has agreed in advance that no notice is needed. When he already knows about the dishonor, they already know. Why to again give notice? Even without notice, the party is not affected, so no notice is necessary. If the person cannot be located, notice cannot be given. Situation like death, illness make it impossible to give notice. When drawer and acceptor is the same person. So same person means he already knows why to give notice. Instrument is not negotiable. No further parties are involved. So no notice. He accepts the liability. He is telling that yes, I accept my liability. So no need to give notice. Yes, students? Clear all of you? Clear till here? Yes. So next is, there is a concept called as noting. What is this noting? Now holder can go to notary and notary will record that yes, dishonor has happened. This is a proof that will be there with the holder that yes, dishonor has happened. Okay. So notary, what he does, he records the dishonor, writes the date of dishonor, mentions the reason and charges the fees. So the purpose is to get the official proof that the instrument was dishonored. Now this notary, they give a certificate that yes, dishonor has happened. That is called as protest. Protest is a formal certificate issued by the notary after noting. It is stronger and formal proof of dishonor. Protest is based on noting. Even if protest is done later, it is treated as it was done on the date of noting. Clear? So noting is the noting records the dishonor and protest formal certificate of dishonor. Simple? Yes. Next topic is discharge. When will the liability ends under negotiable instrument? There are two types: discharge of instrument, discharge of party. Discharge of instrument. Instrument completely ends. Nobody can sue on it. When the payment in due course, when the correct person pays properly, payment, everything is done, liability ends. When principal debtor becomes the holder, if the main person who has to pay gets the instrument himself, if the instrument is intentionally crossed, if the holder willingly gives up the right to money, if any normal contract ending event happens, even that time, discharge of liability. Discharge of party, when will it happen? Only one party is discharged, only that particular person is freed from liability. The check bill still continues valid and usable. Other parties remain valid. Clear? Ways a party may be discharged. When all the liabilities will end. First, by cancellation of his name, by release of the holder. If the holder agrees to free a person from the payment, that person is discharged. If main liable parties are discharged, then related secondary parties, their liability also get discharged. If a person becomes insolvent, if the holder gives extra time beyond 48 hours, some parties may get discharged. If the holder accepts the change terms, some parties may be freed from liability. If important changes are made without consent, parties are discharged. We have covered this in detail in the class. Yes? Alright. Now is a very important topic. What is material alteration? Very important. A material alteration is a change in the negotiable instrument that changes the rights or liabilities of the parties. It is that change which changes the rights and liabilities of the parties, changes the legal effect of the instrument. If such alteration is made, the instrument becomes void. Parties who did not consent are discharged. Now, what are those material alteration? See here. You have to remember these, okay? Change in date is material alteration. Change in amount is material alteration. Change in time of payment. Change in place of payment. Change in rate of interest. Adding a new party. Tearing more important part of instrument. These all make the instrument void. Why? Because these are material alterations. Now, which are the things that are not material alteration? Now, the following are not material alteration. Correction of mistake. Fixing an obvious error. That is not material alteration. Alteration before the issue, but with the consent. If changes are made before issuing the instrument, but with the consent of everyone, everyone's approval is needed. Crossing a check, adding crossing lines, any changes or only changes payment method, not validity. So basically just by crossing, it only changes the payment method, not any material alteration. Writing on demand when time is not mentioned. If no time is mentioned, adding on demand does not change anything important. So basically you have to remember what amounts to material alteration and what is not material alteration. Very, very important. Got it? These are all material alteration: change in date, change in time, change in amount, change in time of payment, change in place of payment, change in rate of interest, adding a new party. All of this is material alteration. If you make any correction which is obvious, then there was a mistake and you have corrected it, not a material alteration. When the alteration is before the issue but you have taken everyone's consent is also important, and just by crossing check, that does not amount to any material alteration. And then writing on demand when time is not mentioned is also not material alteration. Got it? Yes. So if the banker pays an altered check, banker is protected when? Now when is banker protected? There is an altered check. If banker pays an altered check, when is banker protected? Three things you have to remember. The change is not visibly obvious, so banker could not detect it. The alteration is not apparent. It was not clearly visible. On face of it, it looked genuine and banker has made the payment. So no. Protection is given to banker. Payment is in due course, those 5 conditions. Then protection is given. The payment is made by the correct party who is legally responsible to pay. Even then protection is given. Got it? Yes. Next, there is a concept of hundis. Hundis are traditional negotiable instruments. They are based on customs used before NI Act, sometimes like bill of exchange or promissory note. These are the different types of hundis. Shahjog hundi, Jokmi hundi. You have to remember these, okay? So Shahjog hundi payable only to respectable person. Jokmi hundi payable only if goods arrive safely, like marine insurance. So these are all different types of hundis. Please go through all the types of hundis. Clear? Next, presumption of law. In negotiable instrument, law presumes certain things. What does it presume? Court presumes instrument was made for consideration. Court presumes the date mentioned is correct. Court presumes accepted bill was accepted within the reasonable time. Court presumes instrument was transferred before majority. Court presumes endorsement were made in order they appear. Court presumes lost instrument was properly signed and stamped. Court presumes holder is a holder in due course. Court presumes if protested, dishonor is presumed. So basically, all of these things are there. Then basically these things are presumed by the court. It is not that the opposite party has to prove. Okay, if at all it is protested, certificate is there, then court presumes yes, dishonor has happened. Court presumes that this person is holder in due course. The other party has to prove otherwise. Alright, these are the presumptions that court makes in negotiable instrument. Important. Alright. Yes. So court presumes everything is proper unless proved otherwise. Who has to prove? Opposite party needs to prove that no, this person is this holder is not holder in due course. No, consideration was not paid. That the opposite party has to prove. Alright. So interest in case of dishonor, if instrument is dishonored, interest payable at 18% per annum. If no rate is mentioned, then 18% per annum. Got it? Yes. Now is the most important part. 95% of the questions are from this part. From section 138 onwards. So please be focused. Let's finish. Okay. Dishonor of check. Section 138. You must have heard check bounce case. What is check bounce case? Let us see now. When does offense occur? Under section 138, when do you say an offense has occurred? If a check is issued for discharge of debt or liability, it is returned unpaid. Why? Due to insufficient funds or exceeds the arrangement, and other legal conditions are satisfied, then you say there is an offense under section 138 which is a criminal offense which is called as check bounce case. And what is the punishment? Imprisonment up to 2 years or fine up to twice the check amount or both. A very serious issue because it is a criminal offense. A person can be sent to jail. Alright. So this is section 138. To apply section 138, you have to see three things. Most important three things. If these three things are there, then yes, section 138, under section 138, it is an offense. What is the first thing? Presentment. Check has to be presented within how many months? Within 3 months. You present the check after 3 months, and later if something happens, who is responsible? Law says you are only responsible. We will not come to help you. We have given you 3 months. You should have presented within 3 months. So check must be presented within 3 months or its validity period, whichever is earlier. If you have presented after 3 months, will you get protection under section 138? No. First condition is presentment of check within 3 months. Next, notice of dishonor you have to give. If you only don't give notice of dishonor, how will the other party get to know? So, holder has to give notice of dishonor within how many days? Within 30 days from receiving the bank memo of dishonor. Now, you have presented the check within 3 months. Bank gives a bank memo stating that there is dishonor. There is insufficient funds. At that time, you have to give the notice of dishonor within 30 days from the receipt of bank memo. Alright, you have 30 days time. Who has 30 days time? Not the bank. Holder gives the notice. Okay, holder gives the notice within 30 days. Payee, basically, who? Payee. The person who is entitled to receive money. The person to whom the payment should go. Payee must send the written notice within 30 days and drawer must pay within how many days? Within 15 days from the receipt of dishonor of notice. Within 15 days from the receipt of notice, drawer has to make the payment to payee. If the drawer makes the payment to payee, then it is not an offense under section 138. 15 days is over. Still no payment from drawer. It is an offense under section 138. It is a criminal offense. What is the punishment? Up to 2 years imprisonment or fine up to twice the check amount or both. Very, very important. I'll repeat again. What are the three conditions? First, check has to be presented within 3 months. After that, bank sends a bank memo telling that there is insufficient funds. Now you have 30 days from the time you have received that bank memo. You have 30 days time to give the notice of dishonor to the drawer. Correct? Now drawer has to make the payment within 15 days of receipt of dishonor notice. If drawer does not make the payment within 15 days of receipt of notice, then it is a check bounce case under section 138, which is a criminal offense. Again, I am repeating, imprisonment up to 2 years or fine up to twice the check amount or both. Got it? Next, jurisdiction. Who has the authority? Where do we file the case? Case must be filed where the payee's bank branch is located, whether check is presented, where the check is presented for collection. If it is a bearer check, then where the drawer's bank is located. Okay, don't get confused. So now, during the trial of a check bounce case, that is under section 138, the court can order the accused to pay some money to the complainant even before the final judgment. This is called as interim compensation. What is this interim compensation? During the proceeding, court can ask, see, you had to make the payment, but it is that in your account there is insufficient funds. Now you have to give some amount to that party who is in need of money, who is waiting for your money. Okay, so based on that party's financial condition and all of that, court orders this party, that is the accused. Who is the accused here? The person in whose account there is no funds. Okay, that person, that is the drawer here. Now drawer has to make some payment. During the proceedings, whatever the payment the court asks him to make, that is called as interim compensation. Got it? Very important. Next. If the company commits a check bounce case, what will happen? This is your section 141. Very important. It says when the company commits an offense, who is liable? Every company. The company itself is liable, and every person who was in charge of the business, who was responsible for running the company, both will be punished. Okay, but can that person get some exemption? Yes. When? Such person will not be liable if he proves no knowledge of offense. If he proves that no, I did not have any knowledge of the offense that has happened. Okay, or he exercised due diligence. Okay, if he proves this, at that time he gets the protection. Understood? General rule is every person who was involved in that offense gets punished. But if that person proves that I was not involved in this offense, he gets protection. Alright? So there is special protection if the person is a government nominee director. There can be a case study on this. If he is a government nominee director, there is no liability under section 141. Understood all of you? What is section 141? Company is liable. Will the person also be liable? Yes. That is the general rule. But when will they get exemption? When they prove that they didn't have the knowledge of offense. Okay. So section 141 subsection 2 says, even if someone is not discharged in the even if someone is not in charge of the offense, happened with consent, connivance, negligence. That means what? Knowingly he agreed to the wrongful act, that person, or he secretly supported or allowed the wrongful act, or failing to take reasonable care to prevent the wrongful act. In that case also that person is liable, whether that person is director, company secretary, officer, manager, anyone. Okay, officer in default, your company law. So all of them will be liable. So there is an explanation given. Company here also includes firms and association. Director, if it is a partnership firm, then partners are also held liable. They have to prove that no, I didn't have the knowledge of the offense. They have to prove. Burden of proof is on them. Alright? Yes. Next. Cognizance of offense. When court considers the case and starts the legal proceeding. When and how the court can take a check bounce case. Who can file a complaint? Only payee or holder in due course and no third person. What is the time limit to file the complaint? You have to remember, complaint must be filed within 1 month from the date when cause of action arose. Cause of action, your CPC. So cause of action arises when drawer fails to pay within 15 days after receiving the notice. When does cause of action arise? The time after 15 days ends. Alright? Case can be tried only by judicial magistrate first class or metropolitan magistrate. Okay? So if the check deposited in payee's bank account, then court, so this is jurisdiction we have already seen. If the check deposited in payee's bank account, court where payee's bank branch is situated. If presented directly, not through account, then court where drawer's bank branch is situated. Next is, if multiple check bounce cases are there against the same drawer, all the cases should be in the same court. Later cases must be transferred. The latter cases must be transferred to the court where the first case is pending in order to avoid multiple courts and conflicting decision. Can it be tried on summary trial? Yes. Okay. Check bounce cases are tried in summary manner, that is faster procedure. The case is handled quickly with a simplified process. Magistrate of first class conducts the trial. Court should try to finish the case within 6 months because it's summary trial, and then day-to-day hearing preferred. So that should not be any gap between the hearing. So if it is through summary trial, what is the punishment? Imprisonment up to 1 year, fine up to 5,000. If punishment needs to go beyond 1 year, then cases can be converted to regular trial. Understood? Yes, important. You have to remember this. Okay. Now, at that time you saw, during the proceeding, court can ask accused to pay something that is called as interim compensation. Now, what value? All of that we will see. Very important section, section 143A. Very important. Court can ask the drawer to pay some money during the case itself. That is, before the final judgment, court may order interim compensation after the accused pleads not guilty in summary trial or upon framing of charges in other cases. So during the summary trial, when accused is telling that no, I am not guilty, that time court can ask you have to pay certain amount as interim compensation. So what is the maximum amount? 20% of the check amount must be paid within 60 days, and court may extend it to another maximum 30 days. So in total, within maximum 90 days, you have to pay not more than, maximum court can ask is 20% of the check amount. Okay. Now what if the accused is released? At that time, if accused is acquitted, that is accused is released, complainant must repay that interim compensation with RBI interest within 60 days. Along with interest is specified by RBI. Along with RBI interest, you have to repay back that interim amount within 60 days. Understood all of you? Clear? So if not repaid, recovered, then it can be recovered like a fine under Criminal Act. And if final compensation is awarded, let's say, at that time interim compensation already paid gets adjusted. Understood section 143A? Very simple but very important. Alright? Yes. Mode of service of summons. This section explains how summons is sent. Simple, by speed post, by approved courier to the place where accused lives or works. Alright? So if accused refuses to accept the summons or postal endorsement shows refusal, then court can treat summons as properly served because they have that acknowledgement. And complainant can give evidence by affidavit. The complainant can submit his statement in written form instead of speaking in the court. It is a valid evidence. The written affidavit is legally accepted as proper evidence. The court can ask the complainant to come and be questioned only if needed. Okay. Now, whatever bank slip is given, that acts as proper evidence. If bank gives a memo stating check is dishonored, then court will presume, in presumption we have seen, one of the presumption is bank memo, right? Then court will presume dishonor is true unless accused proves otherwise. It is burden of proof is on the accused. You have to prove no, it is not dishonored. Okay. Bank memo is the prima facie proof of dishonor. Got it? So can offences be compoundable? Check bounce offences can be settled between the parties. Can it be referred to mediation? Yes, it can be referred to mediation. Okay. So parties can compromise. Case can be closed even after filing a complaint. Okay. Now, power of appellate court. Again important, section 148. It says that if the accused is convicted and files an appeal, appellate court may order him to deposit minimum 20% of the fine or compensation. Deposit within 60 days. Court may extend another 30 more days. Same concept, 60 plus 30 even here. amount is in addition to interim compensation. Minimum 20% of the fine or compensation has to be deposited. If the aggrieved party is filing an appeal, then minimum 20% you have to deposit. Now, I will ask you a question. Okay. Now, this 20%, minimum 20% what you have to deposit, it has come today. This is the law that has come today. Will this be applicable on the previous pending cases also? What do you think? My question, this 20% of fine what has to be deposited, it has come today. This is a law that has come today. Will this be applicable on the previous cases? That means, will this law has retrospective effect? If you have watched my constitution video article 13, you would tell the answer. What is the answer? And also other articles, right? What is the answer? What do you think? Any guesses? So, will this law have retrospective effect? What did we see? We have seen that it will have, which law will have retrospective effect? The procedural aspect, the law will have retrospective effect. If it is a procedural law, then that procedure can be applied for the past act. Now here it is a procedural change. Minimum 20% you have to deposit. It is a procedural change. It is not a punishment. It is a part of the procedure that you have to pay some amount to enter into this process. This is the procedural change that is there. So applicability of it is retrospectively applicable. Understood? Now another question to you. This interim compensation what we have seen. Let's say section 143A has come today. This law says interim compensation needs to be paid. Correct? Will this have retrospective effect? Will this be applicable on the past cases? Answer is no. Only it will have prospective effect. Why? Because this is a substantive law. This is not a procedural law. Correct? Are you able to recall Article 20? Yes. What have we seen? We have seen that retrospective effect. Which law will have retrospective effect? Procedural law will have retrospective effect. But if it is a substantive law, it will have prospective effect. Clear? So please go through all the articles. I have covered all of the articles in detail. It is there in the channel. So please go through that thoroughly. Clear all of you? Yes? Clear? Alright, so please go through your article 20 for better understanding. Yes, so understood which will have retrospective effect and which will have prospective effect here. Procedural law, yes, it can be applied retrospectively. That is, today a law is passed. Will it be applicable on the past acts? Yes. Then it is a retrospective effect. If it will be applicable only for future acts, then it has prospective effect. Yes? Alright. So during the appeal, court may release the deposited amount to complainant. If accused is acquitted, if he is released, complainant must return the money with RBI interest within 60 days. Got it? Clear? So the last part of this chapter, NEFT and RTGS. What is NEFT? This can be a good short note. Please go through that. National Electronic Fund Transfer. What is NEFT? It is a system to transfer money electronically from one bank account to another. So it works on batch system, whereas RTGS works immediately, immediate payment. And NEFT is batch system, through batches. So works on batch system. Bank does not send money instantly. It collects transaction and sends them together. So go through all the features of NEFT. We have covered this in class in detail. What is RTGS? Real-time gross settlement. In real time, money is transferred instantly as soon as you send it. Individually, each transaction is processed separately, not in group. So immediate transfer, the amount reaches the other account without any delay. It is real time. Instantly money is processed. Okay. So what are the benefits of RTGS? Safe and secure, no maximum time limit set by RBI, legal backing is there, everything is there. Done. There is no physical check needed. Everything is temporary. Everything is done online itself. This is your NEFT and RTGS. Yes, we had missed out on one concept. I wanted to cover that later. Yes. What are the classifications of negotiable instrument? What is a bearer instrument? Bearer instrument is payable to whoever is holding the instrument. Whoever is having the possession, pay to them. Bearer instrument, simple. Order instrument, pay to a specific person. I am ordering that instrument should go to that person. It should go to that person. Payment has to go to that person. It has to go to that person. Inland instrument and foreign instrument. Important, very easy, but it can be little tricky. There is slight difference, okay? So inland instrument and foreign instrument. What are these? Three things are inland instrument. First, drawn in India and payable in India. Example, bill is drawn in Bangalore on a person in Mumbai, payable in Delhi. This is an inland instrument. What has happened here? Where is it drawn? In India. Where is it payable? In India. On a person in Mumbai. Where is the drawee? On a person in Mumbai. Then even that is in India. So basically it is an inland instrument. Drawn in India. Second case. Drawn in India on a person residing in India, payable outside India. Even then it is inland instrument. So what is the key here? Where is it drawn is more important. Drawn in India, drawee in India, payable outside India, inland instrument. Drawn in India, payable outside India, but drawee is in India, inland instrument. Got it? So drawn in India, payable in India, inland instrument. Drawn in India, payable outside India, drawee in India. It is an inland instrument. Got it? Yes. Next is what is a foreign instrument? Opposite, which is not an inland instrument, is a foreign instrument. Drawn outside India. In inland everywhere it is drawn in India. Drawn outside India, no matter where it is payable, it is a foreign instrument. Second example is very important. Drawn in India, but payable outside India. Drawee resides outside India. Then it is a foreign instrument. What is it? Drawn in India, payable outside India. Drawn in India, okay? Drawn in India, payable is outside India, drawee is also outside India. Then it is a foreign instrument. Okay? Very important. It could be a bit confusing, but if you know, it's very easy. Drawn in India, payable outside India, drawee outside India. It is a foreign instrument. And, okay, this full equation should be satisfied. Drawn in India, but payable outside India, and drawee is also outside India, foreign instrument. Got it? What is inland instrument and what is foreign instrument? Okay, I'll just zoom it. Yes. Alright? Clear? Next. There is another. We have two more. Yeah. Demand instrument and time instrument. Demand instrument, no time for payment is mentioned, payable immediately when demanded. You demand now, I have to pay now. Time instrument is time is mentioned. After this much time, payment will be made. Okay. Payable in the future. After the fixed time, that is, let's say 3 months example. After sight, after it is seen, or on a specific date. Example, promissory note saying 50,000 after 3 months, it's a time instrument. Bill saying pay 60 days after sight, that is after sight in case of promissory notice, after showing it to the maker, or in case of bill of exchange, after the drawee has accepted it. We have seen holder has to show it to the drawee, presentment. Yes? Alright. Next is another two more important concept, ambiguous instrument and inchoate instrument. Very important. What is this ambiguous instrument? An instrument is called ambiguous when it can be treated either as bill of exchange or as promissory note. When I see that instrument, it is confusing. It can be either bill of exchange also, promissory note also. I am not understanding whether it should be bill or promissory note. This is ambiguous instrument. There are certain very important points in ambiguous instrument. Let us go one at a time. First is, I draw myself to pay 10,000 to Ram. It looks like a bill of exchange and also promissory note. That is why I took this concept at the end. Now you are thorough with the negotiable instrument. This will be very easier for you. Next, pay 5,000 to Sham. It is not clear whether it is bill of exchange or promissory note. Drawer and drawee are the same person. So a bill is drawn on himself, pay 10,000 to be signed by A as drawer and drawee, can be treated as bill or promissory note. Drawee is a fictitious person or incompetent. He is a minor. So pay 80,000 to C, drawn on a minor or a non-existent person. It can be treated as a promissory note. Drawn to order of drawee, A draws a bill on B payable to B himself. In bill of exchange, there has to be a drawer, there has to be a drawee, there has to be a payee. But here, there is ambiguity. One person is acting in two roles. We are not understanding whether it should be bill of exchange or promissory note. That is what happening here. Understanding? So, in these cases, what has happened? Roles of the parties are overlapped. Bill of exchange is very clear. One person is ordering one party to pay to the other person. Now here roles are overlapping. So it can be treated like a promissory note also. That is why there is ambiguity. Okay. Agent drawing on principal. Agent A draws a bill on his principal P, which is payable to agent. Okay. Roles are overlapping here. In bill of exchange there are three parties. Bank branch to another branch. So SBI Bangalore branch draws on SBI Mumbai branch, same bank, different branches. It is actually like the same person. So that is why there is some ambiguity. Promissory note addressed to third person. I promise to pay 10,000 to B. Addressed to C. If accepted, this is treated as a bill. There are three parties here. In promissory note, there are only two parties. Bill not addressed to any person. Pay 7,000 to D. No drawee is mentioned. This can be treated as a promissory note. There is no drawee mentioned here. Only two parties. Drawer is a payee. There is no ambiguous. Understood what is ambiguous instrument? In simple, when in bill of exchange parties are very clear, there has to be three parties. In promissory note, there has to be two parties. Whenever the same party is acting in two roles, there is ambiguity. Whether this should be treated as bill of exchange or promissory note. Okay. And who has the option now? What is the validity of this ambiguous instrument? Holder has the option whether to treat this as a promissory note or a bill of exchange. Who is the holder? The person who is entitled to receive the money. That person can choose whether to make this a promissory note or bill of exchange. And when he chooses, he cannot later change. Holder has the option to treat that instrument as either bill of exchange or promissory note, but once chosen, it cannot be changed later. Got it? Yes. Now, another concept, inchoate instrument, which is also called as incomplete instrument. What is this? An incomplete instrument is signed but incomplete. An inchoate instrument is signed, but there are some details which are incomplete. It should be signed, okay? But some details are incomplete. The person who is signing and delivering it gives the authority to the holder to fill the missing details. This is very interesting. I sign, but I leave the details blank. What amount, all of that, I leave it blank. I give you the authority, you fill it. I have told, I'll give an example. Okay, so A signs a blank stamped paper. It has to be stamped, right? So A signs a blank stamped paper and gives it to B saying, fill and take rupees 10,000. I have signed a stamped paper. Now you fill it. That I am leaving it incomplete. I am giving you the authority to fill. Incomplete but signed. A has signed but amount is not filled here. Authority to fill is given to whom? To the other party. I am giving here B. Here B is the other party. I am giving B the authority to fill. So holder fills the amount. B now fills it as 15,000. I had told you to fill and take 10,000. But you take advantage and you fill 15,000. More than what was intended. Can this happen? Is this allowed? Till what amount it is allowed? Allowed if it is within the stamp value. If it is within the stamp value, that much amount is allowed. Okay. Now, what is the validity? I have told you have to fill 10,000, but you have filled 15,000. What is the liability of the signer? I am the signer here. I have signed the instrument and given it to you. Here in our example, A is the signer, right? So A is liable as per what is written, that is 15,000. But two things. If you are a holder only, that means I have given you this instrument for free as a gift, or you knew that there was some defect. If B is a normal holder, then B can only recover 10,000 what A intended, what I intended, what I told you have to fill, only that much. To that extent you are liable. But what if you are a holder in due course? If C is the holder in due course, B later, now B has this instrument, B has filled. B later transfers this to C. Now C is a genuine party. He has acted in good faith. He has paid consideration, didn't act negligently. He is a holder in due course. He is entitled to recover whatever amount is written there. Understanding all of you? So C can recover 15,000 even though A intended 10,000. Even if B didn't fill, C can fill. Now authority to fill is with any holder. If later transfers, now today I am the holder. If I transfer it, someone else, then that person will be the holder. No, so any holder has the authority to fill. If I am the holder in due course, then I can, whatever amount is filled, I am entitled to recover full amount. But if I am only a holder, I am entitled to recover only what the signer had intended that he has to pay. I intended that I want to pay you 10,000, then your liability is only to that extent. Understanding? Got it? What is ambiguous instrument? What is inchoate instrument? Very, 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 very important. Among all the types of instrument, this is the most important. They have asked also in exam. Alright? Clear? So we have covered entire Negotiable Instrument Act 1881. Yes, students? So like this only we will take up all the chapters and quickly finish the revision. Yes? So these are the questions that I want you all to solve. Please take a photo of this and solve all of these questions. Alright? Yes. Yes, let us quickly solve one question. Ravi Enterprises issued a written instrument to Mehta traders stating I owe you 500 and I will pay you as soon as possible. Mehta traders treated this instrument as promissory note and ought to enforce it under the Negotiable Instrument Act 1881. However, Ravi Enterprises contended that this is mere an acknowledgement of debt and conditional, therefore not enforceable as promissory note. Based on the above facts, explain the essential requirements of a promissory note. So first, I will tell you how to write an answer. Now in this, how do you start an answer? You have to give the content. The content here is whatever the question is. Pertaining to this question, whatever the answer is, pertaining to that answer, what is the concept that you have to link it? That concept you have to write first. First start your answer with a concept. Here what is the concept that you need to write? What is a promissory note? What are the essential features of a promissory note? For a promissory note, what is the most important thing? There has to be a promise to pay. Here I owe you. Is this person promising that he will pay? He is just acknowledging. Correct, right? So there is no promise to pay here only. Will you directly start your answer that no, this is not a promissory note? No. You will first tell what are the features of promissory note. For it to be for an instrument to be called as a promissory note, what are the conditions that are required? That you will write. And then you will write in the given question, this is what it is. In a brief way you will write. And then in your conclusion part you will tell, no, this is not a promissory note, because for a instrument to be classified as a promissory note, there has to be a promise from one party. These are the essential features. That features are not there. Understood? Yes, like this all your questions needs to be solved. Yes? Alright, so please tell us if you want any question answer sessions. Let's take it up. Alright. Okay, we will end the class. Thank you.